Can we give Marcus a big hand? So good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming out. My name is Mfon, and I am Assistant Professor of Business at National Louis University in Chicago. And I wanted to talk to you today about virtual reality and really go over what got me interested in virtual reality, got me passionate about it, talk a little bit about what it is, and give a demonstration and some best practices on how to use it, and answer any questions you may have. And the other thing, this is an interactive session, so I'm going to ask you some questions. I hope for some answers. The other thing is, I like everybody, if you have your smartphone that has the internet, or a tablet, or a computer, to take that out. So I'm going to ask you to use part of this session. So if you have that ready for that portion. So, how did I become interested in virtual reality? I'm not a computer programmer. I'm not really a tech person. I credit this to this gentleman. You may know, Scott Showalter. Great guy. I had the opportunity to hear him give a presentation at our annual meeting on how he was using a game called Second Life. Has anybody heard of Second Life? Somebody, what is it? You used it?
Well, I've seen his presentation.
Oh, gotcha. Second Life is a game where you have your own avatar and you can really live your life in this game. And what he did, he modified it so students were able to play it and they were able to audit images. So I saw this, thought it was great. The students able to play and they can do audit functions. So they call this gamification. So this is gamification. I said, this is the greatest thing. And I left thinking there's got to be a way where I can have students to actually go in and experience actually being in the warehouse instead of playing this video game. So that's what got me into researching, and learning more about virtual reality. So I came back home to Chicago, went on Amazon buying virtual reality books. I bought a virtual reality camera, the goggles, the headset, so I just went gung-ho in virtual reality, started creating my own content. And then the next thing I did, I decided to reach out to CEOs of local virtual reality companies. So by doing this, I got a chance to talk to some people, learn some new ideas, and there was actually one CEO who really, I guess he took me under his wing. So he started looking at my content, giving me feedback. He taught me about the business, the software, the hardware. So I got to learn a lot in a short period of time as far as how to use this virtual reality. So what it is. So virtual reality is a computer-generated environment. It can either be completely man-made or created with real-life photos or videos. So it's immersive. So you feel like you're actually in that environment or in that scene. So a good example of that is that I was at called XR. XR is a term for virtual reality, augmented reality, combining all of these together. I was at a conference in Chicago, and I had a chance to actually use virtual reality from an advertising agency. So this advertising agency specializes in making virtual commercials. So they made a commercial for McDonald's and NASCAR. So I put on a headset, which was what they call the HTC Vive headsets, one of the high-end headsets. I'm on a NASCAR track in the pit, thousands of people watching. Next thing I know, a driver comes up and says, hey, the car's going to pull into the pit. You've got to change the tires. Mind you, everybody's outside watching what I'm doing in the virtual world. They're watching. So I'm standing there, the car drives up, You know, I unbolt the tires, take it off, put on a new one. Same thing with the back tire. And then I'm standing there and nothing is happening. So what's going on? Then I hear a voice. Give him the Big Mac. So I'm looking around for a Big Mac. A Big Mac is sitting on top of a tool chest. I grab it, give it to the driver, and it drives off. You know, so but that's a commercial. That was a commercial for McDonald's. So that's that immersive and interactive portion of virtual reality. So I want to ask you this. We've got baby boomers, we've got Gen Xers, and millennials. What comes to mind when you think about technology, when you think about baby boomers?
Being a baby boomer, I think what I would say is trying to keep up with the technology and other than go a little bit for
Right. Good. Anything else?
Baby boomers have driven all the other generations off of
Right.
Still can't run a VHS or VCR.
That's great. Yeah. What about Gen X? Generation X. What do you think of Gen X? Right.
They're really the experts.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Because I think of them as being, we're going to use technology for practical purpose. We're not buying this knowledge. You're going to use it, but you're going to use it when there's a usefulness for using it.
What about millennials?
Social media.
Social media, okay.
They don't know a little bit about it. I think some there's always been, there's always been a computer, there's always been the technology, and they don't know. Microsoft has always been around, Apple's been around.
Right.
They don't remember all the other steps that we've had to take to get there.
Right. They call there's a term for that. It's a digital natives.
Right.
So they're the digital natives. So very good.
I would argue that our students now are actually at half that our younger students. I mean, technically I'm a millennial. I mean, it didn't exist until I was in college. So it's still different than students now and students upcoming.
What's the current generation? I apologize, I can't remember.
Gen Z.
Z.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that millennials are totally adapters of technology, yet it's Gen Z who's really the native digital.
And I would say, at least in my experience, our students, we think that they know all these things. They really don't. They know social media stuff and new apps, but they're not good at Excel and they're not good at the things that I thought they would be good at.
We're actually finding that the students are getting worse. They used to come in pretty good with Excel, and that's actually deteriorating. They're not as good as Excel as they used to be.
That's true. There's research that shows it's kind of the opposite. So when you talk about the millennials and the Generation Z, they're good at certain aspects, but then the older generations are good at the productivity, the technology dealing with work. So we're the experts at that. They're experts in other areas. So that's true. That makes sense.
Bill, and I think part of what we've seen is they may be better at technology than they are at dealing with carbon-based life forms. And I talked to one of the high school gym teachers. He said, these kids don't know how to play a game together. They just don't do it anymore. If it's not a video game. And part of it's a safety thing. My day, I would just ride my bike across town. And I mean, literally miles across town. They don't do that from a safety perspective. So he has to teach them how to physically play a game.
Very, very good. That ties into really where we're going with this. And I found this statistic that millennials spend 18 hours a day consuming media. So media across the board. And I wonder, I'm like, how is this possible? Because it's 24 hours in a day. Does anybody have an idea how this is possible and consume 18 hours of media in a day?
So as a group, those groups aren't any different from the public.
It's in your hand all the time. You're just always connected.
You're connected, but there's something called multitasking. So you can watch Netflix, and then you'll be on Instagram. You can send a snap. So you're doing all of these things. And once I did a research on this, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing this because I'll be on my phone. I'll send an email. Maybe I'm watching a video on YouTube. So you're doing all of these things simultaneously. My next question, which leads into your point, does anyone know what are the top 3 users of internet peak time in the U.S.? Top 3 users. Well, programs that use internet bandwidth at peak
I guess
time. Netflix is number 1. Good. You guys are great. You got one. No, well, it's up there, but it's not the top 3. That's good. Netflix.
Instagram
Or Snapchat or what?
Not Snapchat. Not Twitter.
Amazon?
You're close, indirectly. We're gonna look at it. Number 2 is YouTube. Number 2 is YouTube. And number 3, this is where you came in indirect, it's called Twitch. Does anybody know what Twitch is? Okay, we're gonna look at Twitch. So Twitch is a platform. So it was purchased by Amazon. It's a platform where, and this ties into what you mentioned, where you can watch people play video games and pay them money. Yes. So you can pay them money. Now, here's the thing. When you peel back the onion on YouTube, what a majority of people are watching, the live stream and the YouTubers, what do you think that is? Well, yeah, the gaming. Watching people play games. YouTube, you can pay people money, right? So you give them money. The difference with Twitch is you can subscribe to someone and pay them monthly, as well as give them money. So there's millionaires who are on Twitch, and all day, all they do, they play video games all day. And people give them money. They make millions of dollars.
giving them money get from this? They just get they just get an experience for themselves? Like, I don't understand what they're getting out of this.
So,
They're learning now.
so we're gonna look at this. So if you go on your laptop, your cell phone, go to your browser, just Google Twitch, and it'll come up. Tell me what you see.
And it is addictive, I think, because you just want to see more and more of it. I didn't know what it was called.
And interestingly, on that second study, it
So
wasn't.
you go to Google, type in Twitch, click on it. You'll probably see Fortnite, League of Legends. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
I see 30,000. So if you click on one of them, so those are the games. So if you click on Fortnite, we'll do that one. Click on it. You'll see the top people who are live streaming right now. So again, somebody, I'm not able to see it, but do you see one of them? How many people are watching?
Oh my gosh, 30,000 people.
Right. So somebody has right now as we speak, someone that's playing Fortnite. They've got 30,000 people watching them. Many of them, send that person money to watch them play video games. So this is number 3 after, we've got what? Netflix, YouTube, Twitch.
I totally spent. I had no idea this world existed.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird enough that there are YouTube channels that kids want to watch other kids playing like other like with dolls and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have kids at this point, but I don't understand.
Well, that's where this spawned from YouTube, the popularity of people watching people play video games, and they came up with this platform, and Amazon purchased it. So what do you guys think about this switch?
I guess I'm not gonna understand the desire to watch some, why don't you wanna play yourself? I know that eventually they're probably gonna play themselves, but. Yeah, this idea of, it is virtual reality, right? Watching someone else do something rather than doing it myself.
Well, is it basically they're looking for the shortcuts or the cheats in it, so when they get to that screen, they know what to do?
Some of it is that,
Or they just enjoy watching it, but want to save their thumbs?
they just like watching a game. Kind of like TV. We watch TV, watch
They're watching
movies.
TV versus sports versus.
Yeah, it's just a virtual sport, yeah.
Well, they put up these stadium type places now where you can go play and compete, but you can go watch just like a football game.
Hey, thank you. Okay, that was another point. They call it esports. So there's a tournament. So if you see on there, there's Fortnite. Number 2 is what's called League of Legends. League of Legends, they have a tournament. It's a global tournament every year, and they have teams from different countries. More people watch that than the Final Four, Super Bowl, right, and the NBA Finals. Watch that video game tournament worldwide. So it's huge. It's a really good point. They were exploring adding esports to the Olympics. That's how popular this video games are. Anything else? Any other thoughts with that?
I want to be a color commentary on I'm gonna create a new. I think it's already up there.
Yeah, and you'll be so surprised how many millionaires there are from this. So if you have kids and they're like, listen, I want to stay at home and play video games. So we talked a little bit about virtual reality. It's immersive. So we talked about you feel like you're in this environment. So you feel like you're part of the environment. We talked about the interactive portion. So that's really a picture from Next Now Agency in Chicago. And this gives you a rough idea of what it looked like when I was mentioning I was in that commercial for McDonald's and NASCAR. So I was actually standing there, and then the car drives up, and you're changing the tires. Now, the part about knowledge retention, I was able to find some research, and this research comes from China. So it comes from a classroom, a physics class, and what they did, there were 20 students in the class, split the students up into 2 groups. So they had 2 groups of 10 students, and one group, they were given a physics lesson with that high-end virtual reality headset it's called HTC Vive. So they were given the lesson. The other 10 students were given, they call it a traditional lecture with a PowerPoint, and right after, they were quizzed. And what they found with the immediate testing, the students that had the virtual lecture scored almost, was it 27% higher than the students that had the traditional lecture. Then what they did, they said, okay, we'll test them 2 weeks later, see what they remember. So they tested the students, same students. 2 weeks later, they found out the students that had the virtual lecture scored a little bit over 30% higher than the students with the traditional lecture. Now, for me, does that mean that this would work for accounting? I can't say. And the reason I say that is there's so many levels of what they call immersion in virtual reality, where you feel as if you're in that environment. There's different devices. So I wouldn't say that this would be the same thing for accounting. Could you say that it helps with learning retention? I would say that. And the reason why is because having this virtual experience is just that it creates a memory. So the idea is that you're creating a memory, and that helps you to retain information. So when we talk about virtual reality, really the future is now. And what I mean by that, what's fueling all of this growth in virtual reality is the thing that we have right there, our smartphone. So you can easily access what they call 360 videos. So 360 videos are on the lower end of immersion of virtual reality, but you can access it easily with your smartphone. So that's what's driving the growth. What they call 360 videos, and you have access on your smartphone to this. And that's what I use as far as creating content. So I really call it content creating. So I make 360 videos, lectures, I post them for my students. They're able to access them on their smartphones. And the one thing that I focus on using virtual reality is making sure, one, it's easily accessible to students, so there's no burden for the students. Straightforward. I look at creating virtual reality content like putting together a YouTube video. So I don't know if anybody's made a YouTube video. I use a rule of thumb. I don't go over 6 minutes with the video, and I keep things very simple with it. And then as far as putting it together, I look to have a feel. For example, if I'm giving a lecture or talking on a topic, that when they're looking at it, it looks like they're actually in the classroom. So they're sitting in the classroom. And I want to ask anybody, have you heard of any uses for virtual reality right now? What are your knowledge of any experiences with virtual reality?
I've seen it used with marketing type stuff, and I know some people were doing some things trying to do Second Life for classroom.
Okay, so that's great. Anybody else?
Oh, I said I've seen it in marketing, like IKEA's got a
Yes.
virtual reality catalog, so you can place the furniture in your house and see how it's gonna
Oh,
look.
yeah.
And there's some other companies that have done it for marketing type purposes. And then I know some people were trying to do some things with Second Life, trying to do it more classroom type related, but
Very, thank you. I was just going to mention that. So I happened to be about a few weeks ago at the Global Virtual Reality Conference. IKEA was there.
okay.
And that it's not just marketing. So if you have your smartphone, you can download this app. It's called IKEA Place. So they came up with that app in order for them, as part of their strategy, to enter what they call frontier markets. So these are, you have developing countries, now they have a larger middle class. So, and what do you think that middle class has? Smartphone, right? Yeah, they got the smartphone. So they're able to sell their products and they don't have to build a big blue store, right? So they develop this, it's an app, and what it does is, like Kathy mentioned, you download the app, it has their whole catalog, but what you can do, you scan your room, where you're looking to, let's say, buy furniture, you want a sofa. You scan your room, you go in their catalog, look for the sofa, you touch a button, and it will put the sofa in the room so you can view it and see what it looks like. You need to take a picture of it. So you can decide where you want the sofa, if it fits in your room, and then you can order it on your phone. So you don't have to go to the store.
IKEA actually stopped building in Fort Worth. They were going to put an extra store in, and they decided because of the virtual reality that they had 2 stores in the area, and they're not going to build the 3rd store now.
Yes. Absolutely. Another one at that conference was Holiday Inn. So Holiday Inn they have franchisees. So what they were explaining, how virtual reality, it gave them a cost savings from marketing, also to internally and externally. So what they do, instead of having a mock-up, so they were explaining they have to build the whole mock-up of a hotel, and they have potential franchisees come in and look at this mock-up of a hotel. There's a whole meeting. There's a cost around it. They can actually do that virtually. Then what they were explaining, the images, they can use that internally for marketing. So if they were saying that every 10 years there's a cycle for updating their hotels, they can use those images to the hotel owners so they can see what it looks like, as well as use those images for marketing. So it's a cost savings across the board. There's another, so we mentioned the Next Now agency. There's another company that in Chicago called In Context Solutions. And they do a similar model. One of their clients is I don't know if anybody heard of Walgreens. Everybody smiled. So their client is Walgreens, and I had a chance to meet the CEO, and he was explaining to me, Walgreens, I think it's in beautiful, it's outside of Chicago. They have what they call a mock-up store. Well, they had a store where they would actually, it was a model store, and they would use that to decide where products would go. So certain products would be on the end shelf. And they said they would have executives would have to fly in, and they would decide where things would go. So what does this company do? They created a virtual store. So now they can either use the goggles, use their desktop, their cell phone. They can move around this store without having to travel, right? Or to actually have a physical store. So these are some of the things that we see now with virtual. And I can talk about this all day. I love it. You got Microsoft with their Hololens product, which is a goggles where they're using that to displace. So a lot of this technology is really used to displace jobs. One of the things again, at this conference, I was talking to someone from Microsoft, and they were showing how their sell with the HoloLens is to someone, an engineer, for example, could be in another country. You have a technician somewhere else wearing this, and that engineer is the one who's paid the higher money, and they only have to hire one engineer, and he can tell others what to do by watching what they're doing, other locations around them. So these are some of the things. One more, before I show you some of this, in my home state of Illinois, so University of Illinois Medical School, where medical students, they practice virtually on cadavers during the dissection. You're familiar with that, yeah. Yeah, and so you can't buy a body, but there's a cost around about $1,000 to transport and to keep the cadaver. So instead of, and that's really you've got one shot with that, with the virtual dissection that you do over and over and over practice. And there's cost savings. So these things are around, so they're here. Just to give you some demonstration of kind of what it looks like, this is me. I don't know, I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but I'm riding around with Dale Earnhardt. I don't know if you heard of Dale Earnhardt. So I'm riding around with him. I think we're in Tennessee. So I'm actually riding around while he's driving his car. In my Oculus, so I've got several different headsets. So this is my Facebook Oculus Go headset. This is another one, and this is something that's very big as far as education. That's the Mona Lisa. So I had a chance to look at the Mona Lisa. Never been to the Louvre Museum, but I spent time with the Mona Lisa. I'm able to go in and look at the painting from all angles, and you're not able to see it from this screen, but if I wanted to, I can click a button and I actually go inside the painting. Then I see Mona Lisa, she's sitting there, and it tells me to hold it gives me a whole history behind the painting. And then I can pop back out, look at the painting as long as I want, without having to travel outside my living room. So that's another big use, is what they call virtual field trips. So you can go to historical places. Another one, that's Abraham Lincoln. That's in South Dakota. I've never been in South Dakota, but I got a chance to walk around on, on it. I was under Theodore Roosevelt's nose. You get to look around there, and you get to see everything, and it's pretty neat, And you can pop back. There's a viewing area, so they have seats kind of farther out, so you can kind of hop from the Mount Rushmore and then hop to the viewing area and back and forth and move all around. So, and the great thing is you can take pictures. These are all pictures. I can tell people I've been there, but I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call that. I've been to Mount Rushmore, but I haven't been there. But here's my pictures. So I wanted to give you an idea of. There it is. So this is one of the videos that I've made. I hope it plays. All right, it's coming up. So this is what they call a 360 video. So I put this together, talk about the balance sheet. It's about 3 minutes long. And just to give you an idea, sorry there's no sound, I'm in a classroom. So you can, when we talk about accessibility, you can actually, this is one of the classrooms at National Louis, but you can actually, on your desktop, move around on this. It actually looks better on your smartphone. Because on the smartphone, you can actually just hold it up and move around, and so you can scale it. And what I mean by scaling, you can access this, like right now, we're looking at this on the computer. You can use your smartphone. You can also, if you have what they call a Google Cardboard, which is a head mount for your smartphone, you put that on and look around. Or if you have one of those higher end headsets, you can go and pull this up and you can watch it. It's like you're actually in the room. So I've gotten a lot of great feedback, particularly from online students. So, and you can move around. If you don't want to look at me, you can pause it. You can go to the blackboard. So you have, as a student, you have more control. So you can move around and engage more with the video. So I want to be respectful of time. We got about 2 minutes left. But yes, ma'am, any questions?
I think what we should do is I would love to have a scenario-based case where it's like a business meeting, and I come from managerial accounting or costing accounting, and that we're discussing like a topic such as contribution margin, and we're really doing a bad job at it. We're doing things wrong, and they can like peek into our meeting, and then the students would have to say, okay, what was right, what was wrong, where did the group go wrong? I think that would be a great tool.
Yeah.
Just like a video where they wouldn't have like special goggles or anything, because and a lot of our students have never been in that situation where it's a professional meeting and everybody's looking over numbers. But I think it would be good. So I think we all have to be actors and be here.
That's good.
But I think that would be a great case study type of thing.
And they can access it on their smartphone
Right.
and on the desktop.
And they can watch it again and again and again if they wanted to.
Right. That is true. And move around.
Right. They don't have to focus on one person. They can, they can.
Yeah. That's good. True. It's funny. So initially, like I told you, I was watching Scott Showalter. Initially, when I started this journey, I wanted to be able to go into a company and then actually have that virtual experience.
Right.
So there's a little part I left out. So when I went back to Chicago, I started calling up manufacturing companies and asking like, hey, I'm a professor here. Oh, that's great. can I come and video your well, what do you think they said? No, that was no way,
Right.
you know? So, so it was funny, what I started doing, I have this virtual camera, and I would go into stores. So I was walking around in Target with the camera, you know, saying this is inventory. And that CEO who I was mentioning, I would show him the video, and he taught me some great things. He told me, do not move around with the camera. He said, don't walk around with it, like holding it and moving. I said, why? He said, because some people have what they call VR sickness. So it's like motion sickness. So I'm like, okay, so I can't run around Target and Walmart anymore. So then I started, so that helped me a lot. So there's a lot of things you have to think about. I kind of went from one area to another area where it's more of the lectures, and then there's shorter videos, and then I talk about topics, and they can move around. And what helps a lot is with online courses, you know, which I initially, that wasn't the thing, but then now this is a big help in online courses because students, it's not the same as having the goggles, because most of them, they don't have the goggles. It's not the same, but it's more of an immersive experience. So they can move around and they can kind of get a feel as if they're in the classroom, like you were saying, like they're there,
Right.
you know? So many of them, they like that because they're like, oh, you know, that's great.